Hey, friend, welcome to day 18 of our 30-day drawing adventure. I'm so happy that you've made it this far. Good job. Thank you for doing this with me. I really feel like I have a bunch of friends joining me in this adventure, and I'm so thankful for that. So, thank you for joining me. Today, you're going to need a pencil, and I'll tell you more about what else you need in a little bit. See you in a few. I want to ask you, how did your going somewhere and recording it in 3 quick drawings go? Were you able to do that? If you weren't, I encourage you to still do it. It's a valuable thing. They don't have to be pretty. They don't have to be for anybody else to see. In fact, I'm not going to show you mine. I did mine at church, and just from where I sat, I drew 3 quick sketches, and um, one of them was my friend, and I don't want them to see what I drew. That's my right. It's my sketchbook, and I don't have to show anybody. Even though I'm leading this thing, you don't ever have to show anybody what. That's one of the beauties of your sketchbook. It can be a place to practice and process. It does not have to be for performance. So uh, I encourage you to feel safe in your sketchbook, to try and draw anything. In fact, 2 of the drawings were the same thing, and didn't think I did very good at them. A little better the second time, and that's kind of the point. Is it's a place to fail safely. You don't have to show anybody, but the point is you keep working at it. So I hope you will choose to do that. I hope you'll choose to continue to draw regularly snapshots of your life, and particularly in some kind of bound collection, so that you can look at back on it later. I've already told you that I've traveled and I've done drawings that I sat and did not feel good about, and they've become valuable little drawings for me that I look back on fondly, even though at the time I didn't like the drawings. So just trust me on this. Recording those snapshots of your life in a sketchbook it will become a valuable thing for you and for other people too. Now today, I just want to do a brief discussion about paper. At some point in this, it's something we should talk about. Some of you may have a lot of experience with using different papers and what each has to offer, but many of you may not. Many of you have grabbed whatever's closest. That's a blank page and drawn on it, uh, and that's great. I would love to uh, give you a little bit of some background on, or a little bit of a exposure, just a brief exposure to paper that you can use, and the different kinds and what they each do. There's another piece of this that we're going to do in a future date, which is different colored papers. Today, I'm just going to be talking about texture of paper and thickness of it and the surface. Not It's all going to be white, essentially. So that is what I want to discuss with you today. And I will have a challenge for you at the end after we talk a little bit about this. And so you will, once again, you'll want a pencil. I'll give you the instructions as I talk about that a little later. So when we start talking about paper, what for the purposes of this discussion, what I want to talk about is the smoothness of paper. It's going to affect your drawing, and it can be used in many different ways to accomplish what you want to accomplish with your drawing. The whole thing comes down to is, what is the surface of the paper like? And it's actually tough to discern it real well without with your eyes or your hands. You can a little bit with your hands. You definitely can once you start rubbing a pencil on it. And I talked a little bit about this before, but if you zoomed in really close on a piece of paper, and if you look at its surface as like a cross section, like if I slice this paper in half, and you could look at just like the very end of it, which is out of focus, clearly. But what would you see the surface of your paper look like? And if it's a very smooth, the smoother the paper is, the more, and I'm actually going to draw on this, the all paper, if it's going to, the way it works is your graphite is going to rub off on the surface of the paper. It's going to get scraped off. This is just a stick of graphite, a pencil is, and it's rubbing off on the thing. You're actually like wearing it down, almost like sandpaper. And a marker is actually, or a pen is actually putting a substance, a chemical substance onto the paper. That's not what you're like a liquid. What you're doing with a pencil is you're almost like, imagine like sandpaper, like rubbing a piece of wood on sandpaper takes wood off. You're taking graphite off this little stick of graphite onto the paper. And so, like sandpaper, some of you guys probably familiar, you can have really smooth sandpaper that's for like very fine finishing, and you can have really rough sandpaper that's like it would scrape your hands if you ran them across it. It would like dig into your, tear your skin. And paper is the same way on a much more microscopic level, and it's rubbing the graphite off. And so it's an important discussion if you're going to draw with graphite, that you kind of know what you like. And I'm going to say that right up front. You don't, there's no right and wrong answer. I know someone who's a professional artist who has illustrated best-selling books and is a phenomenal illustrator. And you know what they use for all their drawing? Computer paper. Computer paper, white computer paper is pretty much the smoothest. It's not the smoothest, but for what most people would use, it's very smooth. Not a typical drawing paper, and that's what they use. And I think that just proves that there isn't a right and wrong answer. The point of today in this discussion is for you to realize the variation, and then to start making some decisions yourself about what you like and what you don't like. If you draw in a situation in which you like, enjoy it more, you're going to do it more. So that's just a valid thing. And you can get sketchbooks in all different types of paper, super smooth to very rough paper. And I want to kind of diagram out what the surface is. So we're going to do a smooth and even a smooth piece of paper, because it has to grab some of the graphite. Oh, um, is like that, and we'll go with a medium roughness. Paper is made up of fibers, wood pulp and fibers, and so it's just got some bigger bumps to it. Remember, this is like a microscopic view. And then we'll do a rough, and depending, you can get some very rough paper. And think of like homemade paper that people make. Some of you may be into paper making. There are people that are into it, and it looks almost like a heart monitor. It's more irregular, but it's, if you zoomed in on the surface of this paper with the fibers that lay all different ways across each other, they will look more like that. It's irregular. There's never a perfectly regular pattern, but they will have these kind of textures. And so in front of me, I have kind of a range. I have a piece of computer paper here. I have my mixed media sketchbook here that we've been drawing in, that we also sell it with. And I also have a piece of Stonehenge, which I just drew on, which is a fairly rough, thick piece of paper. It's my favorite paper for colored pencil because it has a lot of, and I guess I should have said this earlier, this is called tooth, when the amount of tooth a paper has, because it kind of looks like teeth, doesn't it? So this has hardly any tooth to it. This is a medium amount, and this has a lot of tooth to it. And Stonehenge has quite a bit. Now, also another paper that has a lot of tooth to it is some watercolor paper, paper meant for watercolor paint. It has a very textured surface. So there's all different types. There's smooth and there's rough of that also. But classic watercolor paper has a rougher texture, more tooth. That's ultimately what you're going to be dealing with. In order for you to understand what you enjoy drawing on the most, I have a challenge for you today. And here's the challenge. I would like you to go searching for different roughnesses of paper wherever you're at. And by all means, if you have the ability to go to an art store and pick up some different ones, that's a great thing. Love to support the local art stores. But you can find in your own home, I promise you, even if it's old mail or whatever's laying around, you will find different textures of paper. And I would like you to experiment a little bit on those different textures of paper. So maybe draw the gradients that we've done before, where you start dark and you work to light, and just see what you think about the paper and how it works. But the important thing is comparing them. So what do you think about? And I want you to make some notes about what you liked or didn't like about each of the papers, and just as one more piece in this process of becoming a drawer is knowing what kind of paper you like. And I'm going to tell you right now that uh, the in my opinion, rougher paper gives you more um, ability to a darker and lighter range in your drawings, because there's more pores to fill the graphite in without it getting that like burnished shiny look, and so you can really push it on. It has more room to, these little pockets can hold the graphite. See, and I'm going to draw this here. uh, I'm drawing how the graphite kind of gets caught into the little divots. It gets scraped into these little pockets, and I'll do it on half of these so that you can kind of see what happens. And I think you kind of know probably, but the graphite gets into those little pockets that are in the tooth, in between the teeth of the paper, and you can build up a lot of graphite into a rough paper and get it very dark without it getting shiny and smooth. You have to really press hard. And what you end up doing on smooth paper, if you put a lot of graphite there and you keep going over it, is you kind of end up putting layers of graphite on top of the paper, which ends up, that's where you get that shiny, like you're not even seeing any of the paper. You're just seeing graphite. And graphite's actually not, even the really soft graphite has a little bit of a shininess to it just by itself. And so you're just gonna lose your darkness, and that may be what you're into. It just depends. I'm kind of more speaking from my own personal preference now about what I like, but I'm just letting you know that there's the capability of building up more graphite on a rough piece. And I'll throw up a few drawings of mine that I do. I use a fairly rough. I'll use Stonehenge a lot of times. I'll just use a good drawing paper. Strathmore makes some decent ones, uh, and they make illustration boards, which are like boards with like a paper surface on them, and those can be really nice too. They make those in all different smoothnesses. We are going to do a little mini series as part of this series about drawing for finished product, drawing for outcome, and I will be talking all about, like, if you're going to produce a drawing to give to somebody or as a gift or to hang up somewhere, we are going to talk about that and how I go about doing that, and the kind of materials and things you do. So we'll save that for later. But here's your assignment: find 3 different smoothnesses or roughnesses of paper, and get those and play around on those and make notes about what your position is or your preferences. And yep, I got a dog in the background on the couch getting cozy. It's great to see you, and I will see you tomorrow with your thoughts about paper.